All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business today and see, if these two Google searches, local search and city search, have BSS, yes or no. And we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star here is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinch post, home video, pinned video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph here in white. Highest intent peeps on the left. These are peeps searching for both boudoir photo shoot in their city today. I focus on them and make videos about actually getting them to come to us. Here, videos about BSS. Over on the right, there's the lowest intent peeps. We talk about getting these peeps to come to us on our sister brand or sister channel, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And currently, over there, we only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. So BSS, boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. Both are bad. 0, extra bad. If we got 0 slots page 1, that means we're page 2 or deeper. And we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So if we end on page 1, we're visible to approximately 80% of searchers, approximately 80% of buyers, approximately 80% of the market, so the bulk of the market. Bad, extra bad. Also, 1 slot page 1, that ain't good enough anymore. That's bad as well, because guess what? There's 9 other organic slots page 1. It's probably going to be 9 other boudoir photographers there, so everyone's got 1 slot. We're looking the same as everyone else. Not standing out, not looking special. So a boudoir buyer, what they're going to do is they're just going to click down, open everyone's website, opens everyone's website up and, literally get a quote, fill out everyone's contact form, get a quote from everyone, price shop, price compare, negotiate, waste everyone's time, blah, blah, blah. And, only 10% of the time we're going to get that person to buy from us. So that other 90% of the time we're wasting it. And 0-1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It's not normal to have such a small few number of page 1 links on Google search. But it is accepted and it is, commonplace, but it's not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And I know this is normal because I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search in only 10 days utilizing this new methodology we developed. Now, these 2 deeper root causes here are 1, market saturation, 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. Market saturation, basically everyone knows about that. Over time, people get kind of new devices, new gear, new iPhone, new camera, and eventually people throw up their Google My Business profile, and then they now shoot boudoir, or they throw up their, website saying they now are a boudoir photographer, or they're posting them on Facebook groups that they now offer boudoir photo shoots. So it's more boudoir photographers competing for the same number of buyers makes it harder for every single boudoir photographer. Now, the false belief of page 1 equality, this is new to most people. Very, very, it used to be very common to accept this. Very common to accept that, every boudoir photographer is, gets 0-1 slots page 1 on Google, and either you get it or you don't, and it's not much you can do about it. And even if you had 1 slot on page 1 on Google, well, maybe there's some market saturation, and that slot, that slot goes away, or then you go down to page 2. Well, you got to kind of hope those people leave the market, and then hope Google puts you back on page 1. So it's kind of like a learned helplessness belief, but it's not true. We've learned it's not true because, again, I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search in only 10 days. So we know the false belief page 1 equality. Now we know that it is exactly that, a false belief. We also know that a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer, DBP. And yeah, dude, if we're on page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. If we're on page, and if we're on page 1, everyone else has got 1 slot on, all the other 9 competitors got 1 slot as well. So we're essentially invisible as well. So if we're on page 2 or deeper, we're dying fast. If we're on page 1 with 1 slot, we're dying slow. In both cases, we're disappearing boudoir photographer, which actually is kind of like the warning light, the red flag, the canary in the coal mine that tells us our boudoir photography business itself is actually on the path to disappearing. It's now starting down that path. Thankfully, we have discovered a solution though. We've discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And it works exactly as it says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, making sure that we show up there. And what this acts like is basically like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains, the eastern side, the backside of these Andes Mountains down in South America. The snow up there, what it does is it, all year it's melting into streams, melting, that streams, small streams, it's flowing into small rivers, but it all eventually comes to be collected in the Amazon River. That's where all the water actually comes from. And that page one on Google search is the Amazon River, but we got to first stuff, SQ methodology. We got to first saturate, do social search saturation, put the snow up there at the top of the mountain, so then all those videos, links can flow into page one of Google search. And this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can actually enable them to grow during periods where the market's getting more and more saturated every day, and give them that opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other solution I've seen allow people to do that is having a large, well-known brand, but that takes on average, 5 to 10 years. We ain't got 5 to 10 years anymore, dude. AI is here. We need results. We need a opportunity ASAP. And actually, interestingly enough, SQ methodology, by my estimates, can actually help those actually build a large, well-known brand approximately 8x faster than all these other kind of standard ways of doing it, just because we're doing more volume on more surfaces and showing up in the right places way more often over time. It's kind of like a double bonus of utilizing SQ methodology. So example now. All right, so we are right now going to, we're going to Boise, Idaho. And there are 1 million boudoir photographers in Boise, Idaho. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they do boudoir photography. And as a result, everyone's website's trying to rank page one on Google as much as possible. Ultra competitive. We're like, man, we ain't got no large, well-known brand. Literally the only thing left that allows us to compete effectively is SQ methodology. So we decided to crank it to the max, like way more than a average boudoir photographer would. And let's say we're taking up the first, 300 slots of social search across all the social platforms, and then that flows onto Google search. And let's say we're taking up the first 300 organic slots on Google. Well, it's 10 organic slots, per page on Google. So we're literally taking basically the first 30 pages of Google. So whenever a boudoir buyer searches for us anywhere digitally, we basically got like the first 300 slots to ourselves. So we are, basically we're basically the only one they can find, whether they're searching social media, they're searching Google, basically the only one they can find. So in this case, they'd have to, scroll to slot 301, or would that be on Google page 31 to find us? And so in this case, whose business is growing? Whose boudoir photography business is growing? Most likely only ours, because we're basically the only one that can be found by buyers. And whose boudoir photography businesses are dying, disappearing, going invisible? Well, most likely the other 999,999 boudoir photographers competing against us in Boise, Idaho. And so this is, kind of an ultra example of what SQ methodology, kind of the opportunity it could give to a boudoir photography business, but this is like an ultra extreme version, ultra extreme example version. Now, once treated with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility. So yeah, we're getting more links page one Google search. And the second initial benefit we're getting is every new link we get on page one Google search, good for us. And we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible. This is awesome. So we can literally control how many of our competitors are on page one of Google search are not organic by our effort in acquiring these organic Google slots. And it's good because these slots have some momentum, not infinite momentum, but they do have some momentum. Unlike Google PPC ads or any ads, that momentum goes to zero the instant you stop paying for them. And let's see. Yeah, so a lot of boudoir photographers like this, they're like kick their competitors off. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. This is where the GBC universe recommends hitting a minimum or having a minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search as the minimum. More is obviously better. But that's because basically every other boudoir photographer is going to have one slot each on page one. So if we got three, we're dominating. Everyone else has got one. We're actually standing out, actually looking unique. And the super rare train, someone has two. Well, we still got three, so we're dominating them as well. So we're basically dominating in all scenarios here. We also know that boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with BSS boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Thankfully, we now have a solution, thank the universe, SQ'd methodology. We use that to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, and have boudoir search visibility. All right, so now my results utilize an SQ methodology. So I actually wanted to rank for this keyword, well, I want to dominate page one for this keyword, BLCS boudoir. So I went to work purely utilizing SQ methodology and see my results. We're going down the organic slots. So organic slot one, Instagram, me. Slot two, me. Slot three, me. Slot four, me. Slot five, me. Slot six, me. Slot seven, me. Slot eight, me. Slot 10, me. And so I went from 0 to 10 slots, Google page one, to 9 out of 10 slots, Google page one search in only 10 days, purely utilizing SQ'd methodology. All right, so now we're here, the main event. You're gonna see that this boudoir photography business has BSS for their local search. Gonna see if they have it for their city search. All right, so here we go. Boudoir photographer, Roseville, California. So let's see what we got here. All right, we got one. Let's see. All right, we got two. All right, so we got 2 out of 10, so we do not have BSS for the local search, but we did not hit the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. So now let's look at the full city search. Sacramento. So let's see here. Let's see, we got nope, 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 nope. Nope. All right, so it looks like we got 0 out of 10 here for Sac. All right, so we're missing a bunch of Sacramento peeps. All right, so final verdict, we got, well, we do not have BSS for Roseville, the local search, but we did not meet the GBC minimum, recommended minimum of 3 out of 10. And for the city search, yeah, we got BSS. We're at 0 out of 10 there. And we're actually, we also did not meet the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 organic page one Google slots. All right, so if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've done your local searches, your city searches with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your city, and you're saying, for at least one of those searches you got BSS, or for at least one you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots page one of Google search, and you've broken through the mental barrier, you've accepted that the false belief of page one equality is exactly that, a false belief, and you're seeing, wow, SQ methodology is actually exactly what you've been waiting for, and it's exactly the solution you want in order to get all these slots page one, increase chances of bringing in new clients, and you're liking the initial benefits, more slots page one, and you really like kicking the other boudoir photographers off page one, making them essentially invisible, making their business start going down the path to disappearing. And you're also looking ahead, and you're understanding, wow, AI is taking a lot of people's jobs right now. Last time that happened was COVID. Ton of flood new boudoir photographers came into the market because everyone's got a phone, a superpowered smartphone, a superpowered camera, and everyone still needs to earn money. And so you're seeing all that, and you actually are realizing, man, it's not about getting the links on there is cool, yeah, kicking people off cool, but you realize then you actually got to fortify your position on page one for all the new boudoir photographers that are going to be entering the market, not only from the gear, but the largest percentage will be AI taking people's jobs, and people still need to earn money. So you realize, man, you actually got to super fortify your position page one like fortifying those levees down in Nolens, Louisiana, because the city is below sea level. So like, man, I gotta have page one links, backups to my page one links on page two, backups to those links on page three. I like have so many links and backup links that like basically nobody else, no other current competitor can rank page one, and no other future competitor can rank page one after AI takes their job and then they decide to become a boudoir photographer. And you're seeing that S-cubed methodology is actually the only solution that you can see that enables that. You're also looking ahead to the future benefits that you like for the S-cubed methodology, where you understand we're building these invisible thematic keyword columns kind of plugged into your brand, plugged into your name, business name, website name, social handles, kind of in the backend in cyberspace, taking up backend AI keyword mindshare. And you understand that every new day we successfully execute S-cubed methodology, that we are increasing the probability we show up here in the AI overview. The most premium placement, we cannot pay for this. This is organic only, and it is the number one most premium placement. So increase the probability of getting here every single day, and increase the probability of being ranked on AI search every single day we successfully execute S-cubed methodology. And when we do that, that's ChatGPT, that's Claude, that's Perplexity, that is Microsoft Copilot, that is Google Gemini. Higher chance we get ranked AI search, which is literally growing every single day, getting bigger every single day. I remember the last time I did ChatGPT AI search for boudoir photographers in a city. It brought up 3, and I went to manually look at that city, Google and Facebook, manual search, standard search, and dude, there was like 60 boudoir photographers in that city. So it's like, dude, we gotta get these slots at least one of these slots any way possible. And you're seeing that S-cubed methodology is really the only solution out there that builds up these invisible thematic keyword columns, that builds up backend AI keyword mindshare. It's invisible, but it's building up every day. And you also understand that my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. So you realize you can get all these benefits and prevent all your competitors from getting any of these benefits and kick them off page one down to page two and deeper, and build up this massive, keyword momentum, the back-end AI brain momentum with these keywords, and put a massive gap between you and your competitors. And you decide to be a first mover. You're like, man, I cannot pass this up, because you understand the converse scenario where one of your competing boudoir photographers in your city actually signs on with me, and us working together, we actually kick you off page one, and you actually go way, you're on page two, maybe three, maybe four, like way deeper, and we're fortifying getting all these links ranked, so that you basically have no chance to ever rank on page one again. And we're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns in the backend in cyberspace attached to their brand, building that backend AI keyword mindshare, increasing the probability your competitor ranks in the AI overview, kicking you out of there, and increase the probability they're shown in AI search, building their brand approximately 8x as fast as normal processes. And in order to compete, you would have to actually go and rederive S-cubed methodology, or derive it the first time. And when you do that, you would never actually be 100% confident you derived it correctly. But once you do that, you then have to go and execute it every single day, same as us. And if you do those two things, well, guess what? You're simply maintaining the gap me and your competitor had already built up ahead of you. And so then you realize, okay, you got to actually execute us like 2 or 3x every single day in order to start pulling that AI keyword mindshare in the back end away from your competitor's brand and back towards your brand. But still, again, you're not even 100% confident you've derived the strategy correctly in the first place. So super hard to even put in that effort. And then if you do put in the effort, dude, it's like 80 hours per day. I mean, who has that time? So after all that, you realize, and screw that, I have decided to be first mover in my city. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. And our DMs are currently closed. Hospital is currently closed for new patient intake. But when we do open our DMs again, when the hospital does open for new patient intake, then shoot us a DM, and we will see if you qualify to utilize our S-cubed methodology.